The 0.7 difference in lap time was because as he was out there, the exhaust broke. HKS exhaust.
Welcome to our What's Your Story series, where we're getting our friends to share about their love for cars and what defines their personality. Let's get started. Thanks, bro, for coming here.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background?
Kenji. Background, I started out as an investment banker, working in Sydney. Then moved back to KL and continued with debt markets investment banking. Did that for a few years. Then I joined a family company. We did security services and solutions. We were one of the first in the country actually to deploy AI surveillance at even KLIA 1 and 2 were both done by our company.
Awesome.
Shortly after I got into private side, we got involved in a medical software company. I ran the Malaysia operation, then we invested in the group in Singapore. So I was on the board of the group. We had operations in the US, Middle East, Asia. Tough road, that one, but we got it listed. Yeah, 2016, so got out of that. Along the way, I was also a club owner.
What's happening club in KL?
Lots of party nights.
Yes.
Not much. Cars are always in the workshop. Well, to be honest, my whole family, we don't really change cars very often. We tend to keep them for like 10, 15 years even or longer. So like the GTR, which I drove here, it's 2008. Then there's a Sylvia, which is originally my car, shared with my brother. Technically now it's his car, but we're sharing the rebuild and it's back on the road now. So that one is what, 2002? 21 years.
Yes.
The Maranello, 550 Maranello is a 2001 car. Then there is the BMW 840 Ci Sport, which we brought in brand new in 99. So 99 to now is 24 years.
Was a custom order, right?
Yeah, custom order. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of old cars.
Why do you think it is that you have these older cars, and why have you not compensated towards the newer models, the newer offerings?
Well, I mean, the modern cars, sports cars and all, they're very, very capable. But the question is whether you're chasing just outright performance or you want that balance and blend of looks and that new toy feeling keep changing, right? I don't mind keeping stuff for a long time, obviously. And in terms of the performance itch, it's kind of like been there, done that, with the Sylvia, the Maranello. I took part in many events, even competitive events in both those cars for many years. When I changed to the GTR, that was like the end. You don't need a car to go any faster than that.
It starts to go borderline on insanity already.
No, it is. I can't use the performance on the road. Like, I can floor it, but within 2 seconds, I'll be jamming the brakes. It's just stupid. So if I have a regret, it's that probably went a bit too far in the GTR.
I've driven a car. It's like a horse on steroids.
Well, first of all, I'm just an enthusiast. I do not have professional racing experience or racing license. But I did end up meeting a bunch of guys who did back in university days. And what was interesting is that I started out with a R32 GTST. That was my first performance car, sports car of my own. And I was hanging out at the garage for way too just too much. And we decided to do a business. At that time, online performance sales, performance shops were not common yet. So we actually started one of the first, myself and a very good friend in Sydney. and we actually brought in like whole container loads of parts and we sold it on to like Autobahn, Repco and stuff like that. So I did that for a bit, and that deepened my involvement in like modifying cars especially. Racing was later. Then it was after maybe 3 years or 2 years, 3 years maybe. Then I sold the 32 and I bought the Silvia. That's the Silvia that I brought back here, the same Silvia. So my car is actually a Australian domestic market, not Japanese domestic market. Before I had even moved back to Malaysia, I had already made friendships via the not just 0 to 100 but like drift.com last time. Drift.com.my actually, DCM. So like Lim King, Yong Chen, Terrence, so many of these guys and Sean Koo. I even got to know Steve, the guy who had a crazy S15. He all through this group. So we started out like going to mountain passes for fun, go for breakfast, and then track days as well. So I became one of the regulars at track. But I was struggling at Sepang because even though I had a lot of experience in Australia, the rhythm at Sepang, when you see F1 track, is so wide. When you're not used to it, it looks like you can drive anywhere, but you go off the track. I can't remember how exactly it started, but I started getting Sean to coach me. Sean only has one rule: don't take him off the track. I think like almost a year I didn't really push the car, I just like focused on doing things right. And shortly after that, when I actually got fresh tires and pushed the car, I was probably like, I don't know, 8-10 seconds faster. Then because I was already friends with a whole bunch of other people from the scene, I actually got Dennis Lian to coach me. So Dennis, we did a one-on-one. He had a video recorder, data logger, everything. Ran me through all the theory first, and we had a different approach to how I was looking at taking corners. So he enlightened me on that. That session was very important. All credit to Dennis, he was a great teacher. I basically more or less built that as my foundation to master. The neutral steer was great because we drive a high power FR car. It's going to move. And if you're not moving, then you are very slow. You're not on the edge at all. At some point, I can't remember when, but I decided to take on the GTR from Aswell. It was a GT 800 spec already at the time. The GTR then became it was actually a daily. I drove it everywhere. Then it got more and more hardcore. We stripped 6 gear one day. We had Sepang. I was on a cool down lap. We had gone through turn 3, not on power even. It was like just lifted off to coast towards turn 4, just letting the car cool, low revs as well. Then it just went clack, 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 clack. And that was it. So the car went down to Singapore in Garaja. Garaja in Singapore. And the discussion got wilder and wilder. So from a simple gearbox rebuild, it became, hey, since you're building the gearbox, rather than putting in just like some Dodson gears, why don't you take the whole HKS gearbox kit? Then it became, the engine, standard, the internals. You got a 800 bolt on only. Why don't you do up the engine? So it became a VR41. And then, if you're doing the 41, 800 turbos, not enough. So it became a GT1000. So at that point, I was like, if we're going to do all this, there must be a purpose to it. And time to attack was one of the objectives. So we kind of shook hands on a partnership where the car would be like full HKS livery. We run like HKS parts everywhere. And it'd be like sort of like a customer demo car. That was the premium day, HKS premium day. We had Taniguchi fly in and they brought the HKS actual race car, the GTR as well, on slicks. But we proposed to Taniguchi to drive my car for the time attack. But for a professional driver, unless the car is set up properly, they don't really want to do it. So prior to the actual race day, he came in 2 days early, I think. So we had like 1 day to let him try out the car. So we tried it, and before that, I always remember this. The HKS engineers were speaking to our side, garage side, checklist basically. They have the clipboard writing down on the spec. Then they showed it to Taniguchi. He looked at it. Okay. So we went out, and I was with him in the car. Warm-up lap was like, okay, nothing too crazy. First hot lap, he goes for it immediately. But for him, it's like, he's probably Sunday driving, 60-70%. He absolutely nails the braking point. Downshift without a single jerk, all the way into the apex. And then you can feel the yaw, the rotation of the car. He balances it so perfect. On exit, just a bit of like opposite lock to control it, and he's out already. He goes into turn 5 and 6 at the top of the hill. And bear in mind, this is before his reprofile, so he had more camber. And when he came back, he predicted this car race day 216.8. We just said it like that. We're like, okay. 0.8, very specific. On the race day, he did a 217.5. The 0.7 difference in lap time was because as he was out there, the exhaust broke. Like one, you know, you got the 4 things, one thing actually flew out. HKS exhaust. So the car is on the race exhaust now. That one has a straight pipe all the way, no resonators.
We can hear it.
To be honest, I think I will actually use the Sylvia together with my brother. That's what we agreed on. We rebuilt the car, we shared the cost, and we'll go and play track days with the Sylvia. It's more raw. It may not be as fast, but it's fun. The car is always fun. And you know, the car had been off the road for 6 years. And even though it's still running in, every time I hop in and drive, you just smile, you know, like the car's fun. I can't really say that GTR is that fun. It's crushing.
Yes.
And it's exhilarating in its own way. It's scary. If you don't respect it, it will bite.
Yes.
A lot of people think GTR, all the electronic, you drive itself. They don't understand.
Correct.
The car will bite. But it's like a different kind of challenge, you know. The GTR, you're doing your best to crush physics.
Yeah.
In a car like Sylvia, you're dancing around with it. But I think, you know, try to go through life without causing harm or trouble to other people. Don't go looking for trouble. By trouble comes looking for you, make sure you're ready.
Yes. What's your ideal car?
Maybe a SLS, that'd be nice.
Why?
It's got the style, it's got the collectability, but I think above all, you know, it's something unique that I've not had before.
What color would that car be?
I think the silver maybe.
What's your ideal weekend?
Chilling at home with family, on the couch, music on, whiskey at the side.
Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
What's your favorite hobby?
One that has been consistent since a long time ago is gaming.
I think we're pretty much wrapped on this one. Thank you so much. We're good.
What's your story?